Do your boy a favor, subscribe to the channel. I guarantee you won't regret it. Let's get into this thing. Now, almost in 2019, everyone has trolled and been trolled. And it doesn't just happen on the internet anymore, right? It's moved into real life, face to face. It happens on the football field and it happens on the basketball court. So I thought today I would take a look at 3 of the top trolls we have playing in the NBA today. As always, I'm gonna jump right into this list. Number 3 is young Jamal Murray. Now, if Jamal Murray were a rapper, he would be Tekashi 6ix9ine. Young, brash, overconfident, and probably doesn't fully understand the level of disrespect he dishes out while playing the game of basketball. Now, people troll for different reasons, but I think young Jamal does it mainly as a look at me type of thing, a way of really just shitting on his opponents and building himself up and putting himself in the spotlight. His favorite target, Lonzo Ball and the Lakers. Now, basketball doesn't have nearly as many unwritten rules as baseball does, but it's pretty much understood in all sports. You don't go out of your way to embarrass your opponent. But just like everything else, context matters. Your opponent matters. The situation matters. Sometimes you can do something harmless, like a wave goodbye at a defender, right? I fooled you type thing, and it's no harm, no foul. But these things add up over time. Check him looking at the bench, right? It becomes an accumulation of things where the opponent grows tired of it. Jamal is young as a player, and he's young in his troll game because he hasn't really learned the subtleties of it yet. Everything is very big and look at me, and I'm not so sure how much of it is to get into the opponent's head as much as look at me and look what I can do type thing. And you've seen him show up the Lakers and Lonzo Ball in particular several times. Luke Walton has had enough of the cocky Canadian. But I guess the real question is, does this up his performance, right? It clearly fires the opponent up. Does it fire Jamal's competitive juices up, or is it just for show? Now, Lonzo, it wasn't going to affect him. We know who his dad is. He's seen this act before.
From your perspective, happened with Jamal Murray at the end of the game?
I don't know. I don't really worry about Jamal Murray, man.
You said Jamal was being disrespectful. Was that toward you or towards someone else?
Ain't nobody worried about him.
How much did the way the last game here ended when he dribbled around you, how much did that stick in your mind, or did your teammates talk about it coming into this game?
I remembered it. You know, it's a punk move, but like I said, we're not gonna get into it. Just let him do whatever you want to do.
Did you feel like there was more in that vein tonight?
I don't know. Like I said, he gonna do the circus stuff. I'm not really feeding into it.
Well played, sir. Now, Jamal, he's only a third-year player, so he doesn't have a long history of this, but I'm sure most of you are aware of what he did to the Celtics in his new career high earlier this season. The accumulation, look at him, barbecue chicken. It wasn't just what he did at the end of this game. Look at him stare down the bench again. It wasn't just what happened at the end of the game that had Boston hot. It was an accumulation of this kid stunting on them all night long. And what was impressive, and maybe perhaps answered my own question, is, does this get him going? Does he get in more of a rhythm with the taunting and showboating? I guess that the answer is yes, as you see him just show out on his way to 48 points. And then, of course, late game scenario, he breaks the unwritten rule. There's not many of them, but this is one of them. And he goes for 50 after the game has already been decided. So yeah, I'm impressed with young Jamal Murray's troll game and the ability to stay in rhythm and stay hot while also focusing your energy on taunting your opponent. That's not easy to do, but I would like to see him learn a little bit more finesse with it. So maybe he doesn't catch as much flack and it doesn't become as much of a headline. As you'll see some of the other guys on this list who are more adept at trolling and doing it in ways that maybe us fans don't see it, but their opponent is well aware of it, and it becomes a competitive edge. All right, number 2 is none other than the wily vet Rajon Rondo. If Rondo was a rapper, he'd be Kanye. His resume speaks for itself. He's had some bumps along the road, right? And now most people just think he's washed and crazy. But is he? Rondo's version of trolling is very different from Jamal's. It's much more based out of gaining a competitive edge. And sometimes you could claim it's just downright dirty, right? But Rondo, being the vet that he is, he knows the subtlety to use to get away with it and not necessarily draw attention to himself, but still disrupt the opponent or have the opponent thinking about him, right? It dates all the way back to his early Celtic days. Just being a nuisance, being a pest, I think he genuinely enjoys it. He is an innate, gifted troll. One thing that sticks out with Rondo's trolling is it's almost always in a physical sense. I'm not sure he says much to people on the court, but you could call it dirty, ultra competitive, or a master troll. Either way, there was no way I was going to leave Rondo off a list of best NBA trolls. Now, I know y'all know from the cover who number one is, and it's only right that it's Joel Hans Embiid. And if Joel was a rapper, he's got to be Drake. You want to hate him, but he's so good at what he does. And Joel has really mastered the art of trolling. It not only gives him a competitive edge, but he somehow walks the fine line of having it be fun and not too mean, where his opponent kind of likes it and kind of respects it afterwards. Well, except for Andre Drummond. But the rivalry that's grown between these two is the perfect case example of how trolling can give you a mental and competitive edge out on the court. These two Eastern Conference big men, whenever they battle, Embiid just dominates him. But not just that, he takes great joy in kind of bullying Drummond and really trying to humiliate him. And look, I'm no huge fan of Andre Drummond, but if you watch him any other night, he's a very serviceable big man, frankly, a borderline all-star big man. But when he plays Joel Embiid, he looks like a G leaguer stuck in mud. And so it's just further proof that Joel's trolling on and off the court really work for him, right? In fact, he almost needs that edge. Otherwise, sometimes he doesn't have the energy that he needs. And it's crazy because despite his antics, we, the fans, his teammates, and other players around the league still seem to love him. But what really elevates him to the top spot of the top troll in the NBA right now is his social media game. He understands sarcasm. He understands how to execute the troll. And it's really amazing coming from someone who is not American. Let's take a look at some of the tweets and some of his social media trolling game.
Like Tristan stated before the beginning of the season, the Cavaliers still won the East, so they came here tonight, and the proof is that.
But wait, hold on. I'm not done. There's a new troll on the horizon. When he's not starring as a suspect on Law & Order SVU, Joe Ingles of the Utah Jazz is masterfully trolling the Western Conference. If Joe Jingles was a rapper, I guess he'd have to be Post Malone, right? Because he may not look the part, but there's no denying he's effective. Much like Rondo, his priority is to get under the opponent's skin. The difference being he doesn't care if you see it or not, right? He'll do it front and center, almost begging you to punch him, right? Get you thrown out. He's almost like the true definition of an internet troll, right? He wants you thrown out of that web forum or arena. You get what I'm saying.
And what about your Aussie accent? Sometimes people don't understand me, but do they have trouble with you?
No, they understand me. They just make fun of everything I say, and Blake and DeAndre are probably the worst at just mimicking everything I say and making fun of it. But
like most Australians, though, he's sharp with the tongue too, man. His antics, they don't just stay on the court. He'll take to social media for the quick ether of former teammates. Now, let me ask y'all, who did I leave off the list? Give me your top 5. I know a lot of you are going to bring up Draymond, or I don't know. I don't know who y'all are going to bring up. I'm sure I forgot somebody else. So in the comments below, leave me your top 5 NBA trolls, maybe current and past. I'm going to have to do another one. And as always, if you enjoyed this type of video, hit the like, hit the share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.
So long as like